This is the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And the Sportsocracy, of course, is your central location for all things Draftmas. We've been going through each and every team in the NFL, giving you their draft needs for the upcoming 2023 NFL Draft at the end of this month. And it's time to talk about the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields, there was all that hullabaloo about what would the Bears do with the number one pick. Well, they traded it to the Carolina Panthers. They moved down to 9. And what can they do with that extra draft capital?
Well, I mean, look, I think the move off 1 was a home run. Now, I feel like I'm here again to tell you, the Bears fans of the world, you set yourself up of this is a make-or-break year for Justin Fields. Because now you have absolutely no excuse for not being better than you were. And if he's not, I got news for you. You're one of the teams that's going to be interested in Caleb Williams and Drake May next year.
Mm-hmm.
What I have been told is the Bears did their due diligence on all 4 quarterbacks that were high-end prospects in this class. They didn't value any of them above Justin Fields. So they built the roster, and they did a nice job of building the roster. I mean, I think they did quite nicely in free agency. You now are passable at every spot on this roster. I don't think there's a big glaring hole on this team of, oh, my God, we have to use that 9th pick on blank. Would I like to get a pass rusher? I would. I would like to get a pass rusher. It's not a mandatory.
Now, who's the best one? Who's the best one on that team?
The best pass rusher on that team?
Right.
It's not good.
That was kind of where I was going with that. Like, does TJ Edwards come in and be the best pass rusher you got?
I mean, I really like the linebacker core. I think you've done nice things with the secondary. And the addition to the offensive line, I'm not saying the talent can't get better. I'm saying there's nothing of, oh, my God, we're just completely destroyed because we're playing an XFL player in our starting lineup, because that's where you were.
Mm-hmm.
This roster was awful. Well, now you've gotten yourself up to the NFL level, which means at 9, they can take the best player available. I fully believe that it's probably going to be Paris Johnson, because there's just been a lot of rumble about him. I don't think you're going to throw another young guy into that secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, even if, Joey Porter was still on the board or something like that, I don't necessarily think that is what they would do. It would be great if there was a pass rusher. There's just not going to be. I don't see any path that without a doubt, Will Anderson, but even Tyree Wilson, I don't think he's getting that far. I'm
Miles
not sure.
Murphy.
Stop. I'm not sure Lucas Van Ness is going to get to 9. So, I mean, that's how desperate teams are for pass rushers. And then there's just a drop-off from there. And could you take Nolan Smith? Yeah, but I don't think he fits with this roster at all. And you've got a lot of other – this was the problem with Chicago. This is why I said when the report came out that they were shopping 1, and I said that Godfather offer is not coming. What I was saying is that they would have to get a Godfather offer because of how big the drop-off is from taking Will Anderson at 1 to whatever you're going to get at 9. Now, I do like Paris Johnson with them, because even if he had to play guard early on, I mean, yes, I know you've got 2 guards. He's better than them. I'm not averse to that. And so for Chicago, it's take the best player on the board every time you come up. Now, in what their needs actively are, I do think you need another corner, because I don't love the thought of starting Vildor on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need a pass rusher. If I was in charge of their draft board, I would have – there's about 5 players in every one of these spots. One of them's going to be there. It's just a question of filling as many holes and bumping up the talent on this roster as quickly as you can. Because now you've got weapons. I mean, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Chase Claypool, trust me, there are worse receiving corps in this league than that.
Absolutely.
I've always loved Cole Kmet. You basically have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds because you've got the forfeit pick. So you got 4 in the top 64. I want to add an edge. I want to add a corner. I want to add an offensive lineman. And then the other pick, yeah, it would be nice if we could get a a stuffer in the middle of that defense. But if it's not there, it's not there. The Bears have kind of the opposite problem of the Raiders, who we talked about earlier. Their needs are in large part at places that are deep. It's just if you get on the wrong side of a run and all right, so defensive tackle. That's a position I would love for the Bears to address at some point over the course of these 3 days.
Okay.
If you get on the wrong side of the Mozzie Smith, Gervin Dexter, Siaki Ika run, I mean, you could go 2 rounds before there is another player that even makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see Chicago moving around the board. They have 4 in the top 64, and then they have, another 4 in the next 100 picks?
Yep.
So you got 8 in the top 148. I'm moving around the board. I'm going to identify 4 players that I want to come away from this draft with, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And the start of it for me is Paris Johnson.
Okay.
That's at number 9. That is the guy I want because I think he has the highest upside and he fills a need.
Would you take him over Peter Skoronski?
I would, but this is one of the only teams where I would take him over Skoronski.
Okay.
For me, it's the Titans and the Bears. Those 2, I would have Skoronski behind him because in both of their schemes, I think he slots in as a guard.
Okay.
And at best, he's a right tackle. I don't think he can be the blindside protector in an offense that's going to be built this way. Now, with, say, the Jets, I don't have that fear because he's so nimble and so agile that he can get out in front, and I know there's going to be some of those zone elements there. Plus, I got a veteran quarterback back behind me. So if what the big knock on Skoronski is he's got short arms. So some of these bigger, more physically imposing pass rushers, I hate when people say, well, have their way with him. No, they won't. He's far better than that.
Right.
The thing to remember about Justin Fields is no matter how you feel about him, he holds on to the ball for a really long time. And so I want, as Brian Haynes always called him, the high-mollies that can hold up in that. I'm not so sure Skoronski, that's not pandering to what it is that he does. I think it is pandering to Paris Johnson. And then I'm going to take one of those edge guys. I'm going to take a corner, and I'm going to feel pretty good about what my roster looks like. Am I young? Yeah. I don't think even the most delusional Bears fan will tell you, oh, we're going to make the playoffs this year. Well, that's probably.
No, they will. They will.
Yeah. I'm the one that answers the YouTube comments. Trust me, I know.
Say, of all people, you should know.
Trust me, I know.
That they are out there.
But look, I think Ryan Poles has done a masterful job here. This free agency, because if you remember what I told you, going in with the Bears, because they had $100 million in salary cap space, my fear was that you're going to start throwing stupid money at guys like Orlando Brown or Javon Hargrave, and a year from now, that's not going to look as palatable because you're not a piece away. You needed to build the roster. And I think he's done a really good job of that. But the thing you also have to look at is they got an extra one next year. They got an extra 2 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? That, my friends, is called a safety net.
Yeah, to give yourself flexibility.
If Justin Fields does not develop with this roster, and look, I've said this 100 times. If he does, I'll admit I'm wrong. I don't think it's coming. I don't. You've got the flexibility. Next year, there is no spot. It does not matter where you land. There is no spot that you cannot get up to get one of those quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So this is and this is weird to say for a team that hasn't really been competitive in the last several years. This is a real make or break year for this roster. Because a lot of it I look at and go, okay, this is going to be here for the long haul. But you got one big question mark at quarterback that people are just chalking up that everything's hunky-dunky. And you could be right.
Mm-hmm.
You could be wrong.
But can we make Justin Fields be the next guy to break through? Can he be the next Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts? Can he be that guy?
Can he? Sure.
To take the step. I think he's got all the talent too. I just don't know that he's got the coaching too.
I've long had that issue, and that becomes a very circular argument of name me the coaching staff the Bears have had in the last 40 years that's actually developed a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And look, there's a reason that happens. Because your scouting department and a lot of things in the front office stay the same. There's a reason you keep missing on quarterbacks. So is it possible that Justin Fields could be a high-level quarterback in this league? Sure. Absolutely. I said there was no shot with Jalen Hurts because he had such an elongated throwing motion. Well, I got the Philadelphia Eagles scouting department that's putting pieces around him. They went and got A.J. Brown, who I don't think I could have carved a receiver out of granite that would have been better for Jalen Hurts than him. I feel like Ryan Poles has done a good job of putting talent around Justin Fields. Do I think this is a high-level roster? No. I still think you're in the 20s. But now you're not the most depleted roster that I've ever seen. Now you need to hit, I mean, just looking at their draft board, you need to hit one home run, a solid stand-up double, and a series of singles. And then you've got a roster that now you will know what you have in Justin Fields. But there is no position that I have to shoehorn myself into.
This is the Sportsocracy, and you're listening on ESPN Asheville and the iHeartRadio app. We'll be right back.